In the research that I do, I study the self. And one thing that's really clear to me about all the research that I've seen is that the best way to learn anything is that the material that you're learning has to be meaningful to you in some way. It has to be connected to your sense of self, to your purpose. You have to care about it. And so I start all of my classes with a speech about why it is that I think you should care about whatever it is that we're about to learn. And when it comes to human growth and development, I think the best place to start is just with how miraculous it is that any of us even exist at all. I mean, think about the fact that each and every one of us started as this tiny little fused cell, this mashup of our mom and dad's DNA. And this one tiny little microscopic cell then replicated, divided in our mother's womb into two cells. And then this happened again, and it divided into 4, and then into 8, and 16, 32, 3 million, 6 million. But this whole division process wasn't this chaotic, unorganized mess. No, it was this intricate, organized dance. This glob of cells folds in on itself and starts to take shape. These individual cells all differentiate into bone and muscle and nerve. They form tissues and organs until 9 months and trillions of cells later, we're this fully formed human baby that's ready to be pushed out into the world. And what's fascinating about being human is that every single one of us comes into this world completely helpless, reliant on other people for all of our needs 24 hours a day, for sustenance, for warmth, for cleanliness, any type of emotional regulation or social connection. And it's in these earliest parts of our life that we learn about trust. We learn about whether or not we can rely on these other people to make the best decisions for us, to care for our needs. And through this nurturing, this type of support that we get, we learn about attachment. We learn about what it means to have a relationship with another person. We start to form a sense of independence and autonomy, a sense of self-efficacy based on the context and the environment that our caregivers give to us. And then suddenly, this tiny little toddler brain is able to absorb and use thousands and thousands of words. We're able to learn the entire grammatical structure of a language, age 2, sometimes 2 and 3 different languages, in a matter of 6 to 12 months. We start to be able to think perceptually, to use these words as symbols, to form concepts, to start thinking in a different perspective about the world. And then suddenly, we're put into this entirely new environment, away from the only home that we've ever known. And we're forced to put these new thinking tools that we have to work and absorb the basics of the last 2,000 years of human thought in a matter of years. And all while embedded in this new competitive, sometimes chaotic social environment. And it's around this time that we really start to understand that there's lots of other little people like us that all have their own personalities, their own sense of attachment, of autonomy and independence, of self-efficacy. And these other people, they all have their own preferences, their own likes and dislikes, the things that they like to do. And we start to develop this really strong sense of belonging. We start thinking a lot about what it is that we need to do to be able to fit in with these other people that like the things that we like. And then all of a sudden, our body starts to change. We start to grow hair in these weird places. We start to smell weird. And our bodies start to transform. And we start developing these really strong urges to be intimate with other people. Instead of just friendship, we want to form these romantic relationships, these stable, meaningful relationships. And we start thinking a lot about our sense of self, our identity, who it is that we are, what it is that makes us unique and special in this world. We start to develop a set of beliefs, a set of values, a sense of faith and spirituality as we think about the world and our place in it. And when our formalized education comes to an end, we're told to now take that uniqueness, that specialness that we just found, and go put it to work. Go find a place for yourself in this wide world that you belong to, this giant social machine that humankind has built over thousands of years. And you need to do all of this while also trying to navigate how to survive in that world, how to fend for yourself, how to feed yourself. And it's around this time that many of us start to form long-term, stable relationships. We start thinking really far into the future, decades into the future. Make plans and commitments to these other people. Many of us start to form families of our own. And we start to learn what it means to care for another person. Now we're responsible for that child's sense of attachment, for nurturing their sense of independence and autonomy, their sense of self-efficacy. We're able to help them navigate their identity and their place in the world. But then a time comes when we start to think about the choices that we've made in life. Did we pick the right career, the right meaning and purpose in this society that we're in? Were we good parents? Did we raise good children that are going to be productive members of society, that are going to be happy and healthy in this world? And then our bodies start to change, start to break down. We develop wrinkles and gray hair. We start feeling the pain of old age as our bodies wear down. And we start thinking a lot about the life that we live, the connections that we had, whether or not we were productive, whether or not we lived up to our moral code, our sense of faith, our sense of spirituality, whether we passed something meaningful on to our children, to our grandchildren. And then we start to see our friends and those that we love pass away. We start to experience grief, loss. We start thinking a lot about what happens after we die. Whether we lived a life full of integrity. And then a time comes when we all die as well. Now, this whole process should be something that anyone should care about. Where are we in that process? How do we transition from one stage to another in a healthy and productive way? But the reason why I think that all of you should care about human growth and development as aspiring clinicians is because change is inevitable. It's probably the only constant in this world. And change is hard. It's stressful. It's chaotic. And each and every one of you has this unique ability to help guide people through those transitions that they're going through in life in a healthy way, in a productive way. You can explore their past, the experiences and relationships that they had with their caregivers that gave them their sense of attachment, their ability to form relationships with other people, their sense of independence and autonomy and control over their lives, their self-efficacy, their feelings of doubt, of shame. You can explore their identity with them and help them develop a strong sense of self, explore meaning, purpose as they find their place in this world. You can help them to explore intimacy and how hard it is to maintain long, stable relationships with other people. You can help these people navigate their past and think about all of the decisions that they've made, come to a sense of acceptance around those choices, to forge new purpose moving forward. We can help these people navigate pain, navigate the changes that come with old age as they think about what they've passed on to the next generation. We can help them navigate grief and loss, and help them think about life after death, their sense of faith, their sense of spirituality. Because each and every one of you has the ability to give people hope, to show them that it doesn't matter what stage they're in, there's always a path forward. There's always a way to find happiness and to find peace in this life. And that's why I think that all of you should care.